Good morning, students. My name is Yuna Kario, and I'm your tutor for the subject Learner Development and Learning. And this is specifically for the students that are doing DPP and DJP. That is the DPP or DJP LDL21. Okay, this contact session is for the 2018 assignments. Okay. Let's discuss quickly about the whole assignment. The assignment is going to be out of 120 marks, or it is out of 120 marks. There are 4 questions in this assignment, and you are required to answer all 4 questions. Please answer all the 4 questions that are given to you in this assignment. Please use your study guide, which is now the Learner Development and Learning study guide that you need to use. Okay, let's look at what you should expect in question 1. What should you consider in question 1? Okay, a discussion on the gross motor development skills which toddlers go through during the toddler years. So you start off this question by giving a discussion on the gross motor development skills which toddlers go through during their toddler years. You know what we mean by a toddler. First find out what age group is the toddler children, and what you discuss now under those toddler years. What are the gross motor development skills that these children go through? You discuss them thoroughly. The stages of Piaget's cognitive development theories assess that all children go through the same development stages. So you should give a detailed discussions on how these stages with their examples. And please do give your examples at the end of your discussion, or while you are discussing. Please give examples. That's what I'm trying to say here. You are required to give examples. When you do not give examples and you just discuss, you will not score the full mark in this case. So if you need to score more marks, please give examples. I'll just repeat again. The stages of Piaget's cognitive development theory assess that all children go through the same developmental stages. All children go through the same development stages. That is the argument of Piaget in the case of cognitive development. So you should give a detailed discussion on all these stages that Piaget talks about in terms of cognitive development. Discuss them. While you're discussing them, give examples. That is your last part of your question 1. Let's go on to question 2. In question 2, the first question, I think there are 3 questions under question 2. The first question says the use of practical examples should be given when you are giving a description on how Vygotsky's theory is not only a theory of learning but also a theory of instruction and learning. So please go and find out what Vygotsky's theory is, because here in this question they are saying Vygotsky theory is not only a theory of learning but also a theory of instruction and teaching. So discuss with the examples of how Vygotsky's theory is not only a theory of learning but also a theory of instruction and teaching. So you are basically telling us that how is this theory also a theory of instruction and teaching. And then 2.2 of that question 2 states that you should discuss the Montessori education system, how it works. How does the Montessori education system work? Use real-life examples to yield more marks whilst you are discussing the Montessori education system. I do not expect you to only give me a definition of what Montessori education system is all about. Please discuss. The instruction says you should discuss. Discuss meaning that deliberate, talk about it, give examples, like when this happens, for example, when that happens, then we know Montessori is taking place there, and this and that and that. That is an example of what you should do when it comes to the Montessori education system when you are discussing it. And of course, we are saying that the more you use real life examples, the easier it is for you to score marks. And while you are discussing something like the Montessori education system, try as much as possible to also look at the advantages of having the Montessori education system if you are using it, and where its limitations are. Discuss the limitations or why it might not be such a good system according to the literature, of course, in your study guides or any other book that you might use which is relevant to the issue of the Montessori education system. The last part of question 2, you are giving a brief discussion on what is meant by socialization. I've had students calling me, asking me that, telling me that, not asking, but they're actually telling me that in their study guide, there's only one paragraph which talks about socialization. Yet the question that they are seeing there is requiring them to discuss in maybe 10 or 15 marks. My answer to those students and to the students that are going to do this assignment next year is that your study guide is not the only guide. It's not the only textbook where you can get information on socialization. There are many textbooks where you can get information. You are giving a discussion. You are not going to get textbooks and write a 2-paragraph definition on socialization. You are discussing what the socialization is. So you are supposed, as a student, you should not rely on only one textbook as the only source of information. We have libraries, we have got the internet. You can consult any other book that has information on education. Any textbook on education, they do talk about socialization. It's part of the teaching and learning process. It's part of the learning and the development process of learners. So please try as much as possible to consult, start researching for. When you start doing an assignment, you look for your resources where you are going to find information. You don't start answering the assignment questions on your own and then try, when you are stuck, you try to find a definition in a study guide. That's not how it works. When you have your assignment, you have the question paper in front of you, the assignment, you go to the library, you spend time first to find books. Once you have found the books that are relevant to what you are discussing, try to consult them. Whilst you are discussing, give your own view. Let your voice also be heard in those discussions, so that you are also discussing what you're supposed to discuss, and do not rely on only one study guide. I am not saying that you should not be calling tutors and asking them what is socialization and stuff, but you are supposed also on your part to do your part. If you call the tutor and tell them that I only found one paragraph which talks about socialization, what is the tutor supposed to do? Okay, I'll move on to question 3. The following points should be considered under question 3. Different strategies have been identified to be used as prevention intervention in HIV and AIDS. These prevention strategies include behavior change communication, condom promotion, sexual health services, blood safety, harm reduction, and stigma reduction. Now, you should do a detailed discussion on how these prevention strategies can be used to fight HIV and AIDS. So you do a detailed discussion on how these are prevention strategies, like change in behavior, change in communication, the promotion of condom use, sexual health services, people giving information on sexual health, blood safety, the assurance that when you go and receive blood at the health center, any health facility, you are receiving blood which is safe, which is not contaminated with HIV and AIDS. There's harm reduction, and also our people are sensitized on the issues of stigma towards HIV and AIDS. All those things are examples of prevention strategies on HIV. So how can we use them? Your discussion is how can you use these prevention strategies to fight HIV and AIDS. For example, condom promotion. How do we use the prevention strategy of condom prevention to fight HIV and AIDS? Sexual health, stigma reduction, all those things. How can we use them? Please, your study guides gives a very detailed information on this. If you do not know what stigma is, you can go to your study guide. You will see what we mean by stigma. Okay, and blood safety and all those discussions there. How has HIV and AIDS affected children? Discuss the impact that it has on children at school, in their homes, and all other aspects of their lives. We know that HIV and AIDS affects us more here in southern Africa, or in the SADC region, than it affects any other part of the world. And we have seen in our own communities how HIV and AIDS have torn families apart, has destroyed families. HIV and AIDS has actually turned children into breadwinners in some homes. We have homes whereby a 16-year-old becomes a parent in a house whereby the mother and the father have died of HIV and AIDS, that's how it affects our children. These children are forced to take care of their younger siblings because there are no parents at home, and these children are still school going. Some of the children have to drop out of school to find employment so that they can raise their younger siblings. That's how HIV and AIDS has negatively affected our lives and our children. So how does HIV and AIDS affect a child in a situation whereby people are infected or are affected? In this case, we are talking about the affected part. How does it affect children? Discuss the impact it has on children at school, in their homes. We do have cases whereby a child is born with HIV, the parents have succumbed to the disease, and the child is coming to school and the child is on medication and the child can be a sickly child. How does that affect their performance at school, in your classroom? How do you cope with that child in your classroom? How do you help such a child? We have got children who are not HIV positive themselves, but they've got parents at home who are dying of HIV and AIDS. How does that affect them with their schoolwork in the schools? How does it affect their home lives? We've got these children that have to go back home every afternoon and take care of their sickly parents. How does that affect their lives in school and at home and all the other aspects in their lives? How does it affect their friendship with their friends? How does it affect their academic performance, their other aspects, or that or their dreams? Maybe they want to excel in sports. You don't have time to go for soccer training after school because you have to go back home and take care of your mother who is sick. How does that? All those are examples of how HIV and AIDS can affect a child in your classroom or in our communities. Please do a thorough discussion on that point. It's under question 3. And then we go on to question 4. The following points should be considered: a brief discussion on the influence of poverty on the emotional and the intellectual development of learners. Okay, poverty. We are aware that we are a third world country, and poverty is not something which is strange to us. We know that poverty affects us on an emotional level. It affects us on all other angles. It affects us on our intellectual development. In this case, we are talking about learners and the learning development of learners. Our subject is learning development. So how does poverty, what role does poverty play in terms of learning development? How does a learner who is negatively affected by poverty, a child, let's say for example a 9-year-old child who is in grade 3, because normally a 9-year-old child will be a grade 3 child, yeah? How does a 9-year-old child who is in grade 3, how is he or she affected by poverty when they live in extreme poverty? How does that affect them emotionally? How does it affect their development intellectually when they live in extreme poverty? For example, let's say this child only has one meal a day, maybe only one meal in the evening a day. He comes to school with a hungry stomach, empty stomach, and he's expected to participate in all the activities in the classroom. Is expected to go for physical education while at school. Is expected maybe let's say it's January and most schools are partaking in athletics. This child has left home with no food at all because they live in extreme poverty. They cannot afford a meal every day. Maybe this child cannot even afford to take a taxi to come to work, to school, every morning, has to walk over 15 kilometers to and back home every day. How does that affect them emotionally? How does it affect them intellectually? Does that child excel in his or her academic achievement? Do they excel in their extramural activities like sports? For example, maybe they do extra activity, like maybe partake in things like chess games and things like that. Does this child excel intellectually when they are doing all these activities when they come from such extreme poverty situations? So discussions on that I'm giving examples of how you can answer this question. That's an example. This is how we want you to answer these questions. We want you to give a real life example of how poverty can affect a child's emotional development, its intellectual development. We are not simply looking for definitions of these topics. With real life examples in the classroom, please give a description of what are the barriers to learning. Barriers. What can hinder a person from learning? Example, poverty is one of the things that can keep someone from achieving learning. It can be an obstacle. We are not saying it can be excuse for you not to learn. We don't want to say I never learned because I came from a poor background. We are not saying that we are looking for excuses not to have achieved intellectual achievement because of poverty, but we are talking about things that can hinder learning, barriers, obstacles, things that are on the which will keep you from achieving learning. Please discuss those and also give real life examples when you are discussing them. Okay, I'll move on now to the last part, which is now the general information on the assignment. Take note of the following points while you are doing your assignments. We do recommend that please do type your assignments when you are doing your assignments. If you are not having access to resources where you can type your assignments or have them typed, please, if you do opt to write them because of no resources, we recommend that please try to, as much as possible, to be neat in your writing. And the ones that are typing, the recommended thing is to type your assignment. Of course, please use font 12 and 1.5 spacing, and use the Times New Roman style of writing. Justify your assignment. Do not just copy and paste like I've discussed throughout the whole section here. Try to debate, try to answer your questions, use sources, debate on these topics on which are your assignment. And when you are using other people's sources, please use reference them. Acknowledge that it's not your own work. You can say according to Mr. Who, according to Miss Kariwo, for example, according to Kariwo in 2012 she said this and that. That is acknowledging that it's not your own work. Use in-text referencing at the end of your assignment. At the last page of your assignment, you give a APA referencing list. Have a reference list where you have referenced everyone that you have used, all the authors that you have used in your write-up. Use practical and local examples in your discussions. It's important that please, when you give examples, you use local examples. Use examples in your own schools. Use examples that you know are real life examples. My cell phone number is 081-2851-424. You are free to SMS, to call me when I'm not able to answer your questions, because I'm not able to answer your phone call because I'm busy. Please you are allowed to leave a message, an SMS. You can go on WhatsApp. You can still WhatsApp me your question. I can get back to you. You can call. I can call you back, and you are also free to email me. Okay, my name is Yuna Kariwo. Like I said, my email address is yuna.kariwo@gmail.com. You are free to email me. I will respond to your email. I may not respond to your email as quickly as I can respond to your cell phone, of course, because I'm not always having access to the internet with my kind of work, but I am going to respond to your emails when I get a chance to sit on my computer and check my emails. That's the end of our session. Please do your assignments on time and try as much as possible to hand them on time and prepare well in advance. This is the end of our presentation, and good luck with your assignments. Thank you.